Today I'm reviewing the novel Darkdawn, the finale to the Nevernight Chronicles, and discussing whether or not I think you should read it. In order to do that, I've gotten help, so say hello to everyone, Video Ben. Mild spoilers, but early on in Darkdawn, the in-canon author who wrote the Nevernight Chronicles discovered the first two novels and used it to gain information he didn't already have. Mind you, he hadn't written the novels yet, didn't have that information, and the only reason he found the books was because he was in a library of Never Was. Yeah, it gets a bit complicated. But wait, Video Ben, I've read through the script and at no point do I say what you just said. How do you explain that? Gotcha. And that's Darkdawn's plot. Hello! I am Ben Pick, and thank you for joining me in Running to Write, where I give questionable writing advice through running metaphors. Once again, today I'll be reviewing Darkdawn, Jay Kristoff's finale to the Nevernight Chronicles. I did what I could in my first two critique reviews of Nevernight and Godsgrave to not include spoilers. However, for this review, there will be considerable spoilers for those first two novels, and spoilers for Darkdawn. If you haven't caught on from my first two videos, the short answer is that you should skip Darkdawn. The author tried to do too much, and there were parts in Darkdawn that I disliked so much that I retroactively lowered my rating for the first novel, Nevernight. In running terms, the author tries to run both a sprint interval workout while building up their endurance by running long distances. That training plan falls apart well before the end. There is no worthwhile finish to the Nevernight Chronicles, only sprained ankles and mental exhaustion. In Darkdawn, Mia's tale of revenge comes to a close as she battles against the Church of Assassins, her former teachers, and the leader of a nation who killed the man she considered to be her father, all while gods attempt to influence her so that a dead god can be resurrected or stopped from being resurrected. The story runs at a breakneck pace to include flashy events with no substance. There were even several points within the story where characters mentioned that they don't understand how certain things happened, but that they need to deal with them anyways. Characters move across continents and transfer information without any conceivable way of doing so. Sure, it's a tense moment to have Mia fight an army in the middle of a desert while monsters attack both sides. Does it really make sense for that to all happen together? Not really, no. The story established that the nearest teleportation pool to the desert was broken, and the one person capable of communicating over long distances was working for Mia. Therefore, there was no reason for the army to rally or want to travel to the ruined city in the middle of the desert, nor was there a good reason why they should want to attack Mia. The likelihood that the army knew where to go to find the ancient ruined city based off of one character glimpsing a map tattooed to somebody's skin is minimal at best, especially since that character wasn't with the army and was conveying what they saw. Couple that with the likelihood that the army runs into Mia across the vastness of the desert, that's so unlikely that it's entirely unbelievable. And this is just one example of many where things don't make sense when they happen in the story, and they only feel like they're in there to include a flashy event to tie readers over between scenes. In terms of grabbing attention, the entire subplot of making Mia become a pirate queen on top of the best gladiator and the assassin queen was entirely extraneous to the plot. As it was unnecessary, I'm not going to devote any more of this video on that topic. Yet the most egregious plot point in Darkdawn is that the characters sat down and read the first two novels. Then they offered their own commentary to act as stand-ins for negative reviews about those novels. I have never DNF'd a novel, nor do I intend to. I always read all the way through to give the author their due respect. Reading is a commitment to bond with the author's intentions, and I like seeing them all the way through regardless of the author's choices. But wow, there are clear moments where I can picture closing a book forever, and a fourth wall breaking Spaceballs-esque moment, not for comedic purposes, has jumped to the top of the list. And yet it gets worse. Not only did the characters find the first two novels to act as a recap for the series, They then found Darkdawn. The antagonists used this version of the novel to enact a plan against Mia and her friends. That's right, the only reason why the villains enact a plan against the heroes is because of the misinformation they read within the novel I was currently reading. As these novels were found within the Library of Never Was, no one had written them yet. And yet this story's plot hangs on the information contained within, which no one present knew. That blew my mind that the author had the audacity to include a version of Darkdawn within Darkdawn. I'm surprised he didn't have a character skim all the way to the end and say something about how, wow, what a heartfelt journey that was, or something equally as meaningless to drive up drama for readers. Although this version of Darkdawn turned out to be a fake, it still ruined the series for me. Going back to flashy events without substance, reading through the fake Darkdawn gave Mia the confrontations with the villains of her story that never actually happened because they only existed within the Darkdawn that never was. This is such an asinine story mechanic that I don't even know where to start with why it shouldn't have been used. Reading a fake Darkdawn within Darkdawn removed all sense of drama and dark tones and transformed the story into a farce. I almost feel like the author had no idea how to get the characters where they needed to go, both emotionally or physically, and so they just threw up their hands and pulled this idea out of nowhere. This is a long tangent, but no one will be able to convince me that including the first two novels and a fake Darkdawn within Darkdawn was a good idea. There was another moment clearly meant to drive readers' sympathy for the characters. The point of view shifted to a character we didn't really care about before, as they reveal some of their backstory. Surprise, surprise, they died in that scene, and we watched from their point of view as they died. Oh well. Based on the novel's canon, no one was alive who could tell that character's final moments, meaning they were only included in the story for the reader's benefit, which I found to be an overused, cheap trick across the series. I'm going to finish up this review with my thoughts on the lackluster villain named Skeva, and I'll even make a claim that Mia was the true villain of the story. Sure, Skeva had his rivals removed or killed, but it was often Mia doing the killing. I mentioned in my last video how up to that point, Skeva had never done anything truly evil. And it's not until a large way through this novel when Skeva absorbs the power of an angry dead god, which, not surprisingly, corrupts him, that he actually starts doing things that would be considered villainous. Mia's kill count is significantly higher than Skeva's, and despite her opinion about how she protects the innocent, she does a really good job of killing people whose only crimes were being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Across the Nevernight Chronicles, most of Skeva's actions are in direct retaliation to Mia's public assassinations. Given what we know about Nevernight's world, killing a small group of revolutionary leaders was a much better outcome than all-out civil war that would have likely destroyed the city of Godsgrave. In some ways, this kind of puts Skeva in the right for hiring assassins to take out the revolutionary leaders. Major spoilers begin now, so if you don't want the ending ruined for you, skip ahead to this timestamp in 3, 2, 1, okay. Ironically, in the not-so-climactic finale between Mia and her father, the city of Godsgrave was destroyed, killing easily tens of thousands of innocent people. Not only that, but in the aftermath, the lives of the nation's citizens would largely be ruined due to the utter destruction. As a whole, this series cared more about spectacle than in substance. The plot and twists were predictable, the characters fell flat, and I grew annoyed at how often the characters worked against their established motivations and skill sets solely that plot could happen. I didn't even get into the plan that the Church of Assassins enacted to trap Mia and kill her based on the information they read within the fake Darkdawn, but considering that they were master assassins, the plan was pathetic. The prose was self-indulgent to the point of becoming meandering and skim-worthy. Then there were paragraphs where characters stated one thing at the start, only to do the exact opposite by the end with no justification whatsoever. While this flip-flopping drove the story forward, it made me think worse of the characters and plot. There were also paraphrased quotes from Lethal Weapon and Frozen, which made me roll my eyes. I don't know if they were intentional or not, but including them only served to further hurt the storytelling. Throughout much of Darkdawn, the drama and stakes felt arbitrary, and the joy of reading became my own plodding journey across a desert. I give this sputtering conclusion to the series a 1 out of 5. I am Ben Pick, and I'm sorry I don't have anything good to say about the third novel in the Nevernight Chronicles. Thank you for joining me in Running to Write. What did you think of the Nevernight Chronicles, and is everything I said wrong? Did you enjoy the series and I missed the point entirely? Let me know in those comments. I post my running and writing thoughts on social media, so be sure to follow along and join in with your own comments. Next week, I'll be providing my own opinions on how my issues with the series could have been resolved. So please join in and find out how I would fix the series if given the reins. See you next time. Until then, I guess read Darkdawn if you want.